One of the most intriguing questions I often hear is about the fate of the 12 tribes of Israel. Did they truly vanish in history? In this video, we'll dive into the theories surrounding the so-called lost tribes and examine clues and evidence that might reveal where they have been over the centuries. Stay with us until the end for this fascinating exploration. Join us on this journey as we uncover the mystery of the 12 tribes. Don't forget to like and share this video with others who may be interested in this biblical puzzle. Together, let's explore whether the 12 tribes of Israel truly disappeared. After being freed from slavery in Egypt, the Israelites set out toward Canaan, the land promised by God to Abraham and his descendants. Throughout their journey and settlement, the Israelites repeatedly disobeyed the laws and commandments given to Moses on Mount Sinai. These acts of disobedience led to severe consequences, highlighting the importance of staying faithful to the covenant made with God. In the book of Leviticus, both the blessings for obedience and the penalties for rebellion are clearly outlined. God's covenant with the Israelites required them to worship Him alone, reject idolatry, and avoid adopting the customs and practices of the surrounding nations. This covenant wasn't just a set of rules, but a sacred commitment that defined them as a holy nation. In Leviticus 26:17, God warns of the consequences of disobedience. "I will set my face against you, and you will be defeated by your enemies. Those who hate you will rule over you, and you will flee, even though no one pursues you." This verse demonstrates how ignoring the covenant would lead to Israel's downfall, leaving them vulnerable to their enemies and losing God's protection. This judgment not only symbolized their separation from God, but also led to harsh realities. The tribes of Israel could be conquered, scattered, or assimilated into other cultures. This recurring pattern of disobedience and judgment serves as a reminder of the need for faithfulness and obedience to God to experience His blessings. In verse 25, God elaborates on the punishment. "I will bring adversary nations against you, bringing the sword to avenge my covenant. And when you flee to your cities, I will send the plague among you, and you will fall under the power of the enemy." This highlights the severe consequences of breaking their covenant with God. When the Israelites turned away from God and embraced idolatry, He allowed them to be dominated by neighboring nations. Historical accounts, such as those in the book of Hosea, describe the last kings of Israel as illegitimate rulers who contributed to the kingdom's decline and eventual dispersion. As the tribes distanced themselves from God, they fell into the hands of rival nations vying for control of the region. This period of decline left a lasting impact on the 12 tribes, leading to countless theories about their fate. Some believe the tribes assimilated into other cultures, while others think they preserved their identity in secrecy. One controversial theory suggests that the Israelites were ancestors of indigenous tribes in the Americas. According to this view, indigenous peoples are descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. However, this idea lacks support from both biblical and scientific evidence. Genetic studies show that indigenous peoples primarily have Asian ancestry, tracing back to populations from regions like Siberia and the Far East. Archaeological and linguistic evidence also contradicts the idea of a direct connection between indigenous peoples and the Israelites. The physical and cultural differences between indigenous peoples and ancient Israelites further disprove this theory. Indigenous groups have characteristics and traditions more closely aligned with Asian origins, while the Israelites had distinct traits and customs reflective of their Middle Eastern roots. Advancements in genetic research have debunked many old theories about the lost tribes. DNA evidence shows no significant genetic link between indigenous peoples of the Americas and populations from the Middle East, such as the Israelites. Instead, indigenous peoples are more closely related to Asians. Some theories also suggest that African peoples are descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. However, historians and genetic evidence do not support this claim. African populations are generally traced back to Ham, as described in biblical genealogies, while Israelites are descendants of Shem. One notable exception is the Ethiopian Jews, who carried Jewish heritage. They are often referred to as Cushitic Jews, linking them to Cush, a descendant of Ham. Despite their Jewish connection, their primary ancestry is rooted in African origins rather than Semitic lineage. The idea of the lost tribes also extends to Europe, with some claiming that the Israelites were ancestors of the British or Anglo-Saxons. However, this theory is based on mistranslations and lacks historical or linguistic support. It fails to align with the characteristics of European populations. Apart from these theories, many claims about the lost tribes being indigenous, African or European groups are little more than myths. These interpretations are not supported by biblical or genetic evidence and have been largely disproven by modern research. The tribes of Israel are often believed to have been scattered during historical events like the Assyrian conquest in 722 BC. The Assyrians deported many Israelites to regions within their empire where they were absorbed by local populations over time. This dispersion contributed to the mystery surrounding their fate. The Bible provides clues about the lost tribes in passages such as 2 Kings 17:6, which states, "In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away to Assyria, and he placed them in Hala and Habor by the river Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes." These accounts indicate that the tribes were not lost, but absorbed into the surrounding cultures. The New Testament also mentions members of the tribes outside Judah, such as Anna from the tribe of Asher, Luke 2:36, and Paul from the tribe of Benjamin. These references suggest that the tribes were not entirely lost, but remained present in the regions where they were scattered. The ultimate fulfillment of biblical prophecy regarding the lost tribes lies in the message of Jesus Christ. Through him, the distinction between Jew and Gentile has been erased, creating a new people of God. As Paul wrote, "In Christ, there is neither Jew nor Greek." God's plan is not to save just one ethnicity or nation, but all people who believe in Christ. Faith, not heritage, is what matters. Through faith, anyone can become part of God's family and share in his promises. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel to support us and help us create more videos. Thank you and God bless you.